Hi, it's Mike with AskTractorMike.com. I have a viewer letter today from Johnny. And Johnny is getting ready to possibly buy a bigger cutter for his tractor. And he's a little concerned about running that cutter over hills. And I think he's wise to be concerned about this. But his question today is, I have a Kubota L6060. And I'm thinking about purchasing a Bushwhacker MD144 cutter. It's a 12-foot bat wing, the sides fold up cutter. Here's my dilemma. The vertical distance from the center of the PTO shaft on the Kubota and the top of the drawbar is only 5.5 inches. My question is, will I run into issues with the drive line contacting the hitch when topping a hill? If so, should I try to find an offset drawbar to lower the hitch point? Well, Johnny, first off, there's going to be some data in the owner's manual about that cutter and the tractor. There's dimensions from the center of the PTO shaft to the drawbar hole that have to be followed, and they're different from 540 RPM to 1000 RPM, and you're likely looking at a 540 RPM cutter. So you have to have that distance there for the cutter to work correctly. So when you're coming up over a hill, if the tractor peaks over the hill and the cutter's still coming up, is it possible that you're going to lower your PTO shaft into your drawbar? Well, with only 5.5 inches distance, yeah, that's a big possibility. So how do you know what's right? Well, the first thing you need to do really is to look in your owner's manual and see how they recommend using this cutter. And I think you're going to see in the owner's manual them tell you about two dangers when you're using any cutter. One is going straight through a dip or a valley or a draw, as we call it in the Ozarks, or topping a hill. Because either way, you're putting the PTO shaft in a tremendous bind. And I've talked about this in other videos, but there's nothing that can be done from the tractor side or from the cutter side when you're in that situation, and something has to give. And if your PTO shaft gets into your drawbar, it's going to take off your shield, make a nice cut around it. And I've seen PTO shields that were cut that way. I've also seen PTO shields where the cutter was raised up too high and that shield got into the deck and it sheared the shield all the way around. You'll see a two-piece shield at that point cut in two in a nice way. And you're lucky if you don't bend the PTO shaft when that happens. If you're unlucky, you bend the PTO shaft and it won't go in or out and you've got a big mess. If you're really unlucky, you blast the end of the gearbox out on the cutter, or you break the PTO shaft off on the tractor. And those are all possibilities. So Johnny, you're wise to be thinking about this. I think when you're reading your owner's manual on the cutter, it's going to tell you not to drive straight up and over a hill or straight down and through a draw. If you kind of go at an angle, then you're not putting that PTO shaft in a bind. But a lot of times you don't have much choice, because if you're on a side hill, the rollover possibility is pretty big when you're on the side hill. So you're nervous about doing this. You want to drive straight up and down the hills. Maybe the best thing for you to do, and I've got a place on my property where I do this, where I back up the hill and mow up till it flattens out on top of the hill, and I'm keeping my cutter at the same angle as my tractor, and then I come from the top and run over it, and then I'm safe that way. So that may be what you need to do. But my best advice is for you, Johnny, is to get your local dealer out there, and as part of the deal, have them come out, look at your hill, maybe hook the cutter up with a PTO shaft off of it, and drive up and just check the angle and see, is that going to put that PTO shaft in a bind or encounter the drawbar? Best to do it without the PTO shaft attached and just go out and look, because that could be a problem. But you really won't know till you get the tractor hooked up to the cutter. And I'd make that dealer earn his money. I'd make him or her, if this is some female salesperson, come out, look over your property, see where you're wanting to cut, and then recommend what the best way to do it is. Now you can get into a real bad situation if you, let's say you hooked that up and it did get in a bind and you broke the PTO shaft off your tractor. That's not going to be covered under warranty of the tractor, and the people that built the cutter are not going to cover it either. And really, if you just have the word of your dealer sales rep that it was going to be fine, he's not going to pay for warranty either. So you're kind of out on your own. When you have a situation like that, it's best to go out and just really get to the steepest point where your tractor's coming over the hill and your cutter's coming up the hill without the PTO shaft attached, and just look and see how much of a bind is this going to put me in. Better to do it beforehand than after everybody's arguing over who pays for the repair. And I guarantee you, in most cases, if it's a repair, it's going to be an expensive repair. So, Johnny, I think you're wise to be thinking about this up front. Get that worked out before you get in the field with it. Appreciate you watching my videos. If you'd like to subscribe to my YouTube channel, I'd be honored. Click the mic face icon and check the bell so you're notified when I post future videos. If you'd like to see some unique items for the tractor owner, go to my website in the Tractor Fun Store right here. And here's another video you might want to watch. Thanks for watching.